Good morning, eighth grade. I am back with your second lesson. This is very easy, very simple. It's about animal classification and how we, as scientists, would classify animals if we wanted to study them. So it's lesson two. So how are animals classified? And I think you guys probably went over this in at least sixth, if not seventh grade as well. But scientists classify animals according to similar structures and similar organs and a lot of things they have in common. So, for instance, marine mammals are all mammals. They're air breathing. So they're all classified very closely together, where they wouldn't be classified with sharks per se, because sharks are A, they breathe underwater, and B, their bones are made of cartilage. And so also talking more about sharks, they're all classified together with skates and rays because their bodies are made of cartilage or their bone structures. So that's how animals are organized and classified. Something you're going to have to know is over here, and it is kind of from domain. You're going to need to know how to classify these: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. And that's how you specifically scientifically classify animals. Every living organism, plant or animal, fungus, algae, amoeba, whatever you're looking for, has a genus species. Okay. Humans are Homo sapiens. Genus is Homo, species is sapiens. So we're Homo sapiens. That's our genus species. And that's this was developed so it was well organized around the world. I might say a dolphin or a skunk is called a skunk, but people in other parts of the world call them polecats. So common names don't really transfer throughout the world, but the scientific names, genus, species, transfer throughout the world. I could literally talk for hours on this, so I won't. So again, I put this up there. I gave you this little hint here. Didn't King Philip count ostriches for giving sugar? And that matches up with domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, all animals and organisms are scientifically named. Some examples I have given are dolphins, which is a Tursiops truncatus. Genus is Tursiops. Species is Truncatus. A gray wolf is a Canis lupus. Canis, you'll realize all dog species are canines or canis. So some of these words come from a scientific basis. And then a cow is a Bos taurus or Bos taurus, however you want to say it. And then there are a lot of subspecies. So this would be just a general cow, and then your individual varieties of cows, your Angus, your Charolais, your Herefords, would have a subspecies name, but we're not going to go that deep. So what you really need to know in order is domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay. And then after we've talked about the genus and the species, animals are actually classified into two areas. And we're just talking about animals. Clearly, I've taken protists and fungus and plants out of the equation here. But animals are either one of two things. They are invertebrates or vertebrates. Vertebrates have what? They have a backbone. Invertebrates do not have a backbone. So what are vertebrates? Mammals, humans, reptiles, birds, amphibians, and fish. They all have a backbone. Even the sharks and the skates and the rays that are made of cartilage have a backbone. Okay, and then you go to your invertebrates, and that would be your mollusks, like clams, and your arthropods, which is your insects, your crustaceans, and your arachnids. So a tarantula is your arachnid, a bee is your insect, and a crustacean would be like a lobster or a crab. And a lot of people get crustaceans confused. They think because they have a hard outer shell, they have a backbone, but they do not. They are a invertebrate. Okay, so what I mainly want you to focus on is what a vertebrate is and what an invertebrate is. And this, again, is something you should have learned a few years ago, so this is review. What's really cool about the world is that we have identified over the past hundreds of years about 1.8 million animals, but there are probably upwards of around 30 million living organisms that we have not even seen yet. So there is so much out there in the world still being discovered. One of my professors at Texas A&M, his name is Dr. Iliff, actually is I wish I could think of the really, really long name. Biospeleology, I think it is. And he is a scientific cave diver. And he has discovered over 300 shrimp species that live deep underwater in saltwater caves, like in caverns that you can only get through with a rope. So he does this diving in cave systems and has discovered many shrimps. So you could look him up if you really wanted to. Okay, so back to classification. We're either an invertebrate or an invertebrate. And I've just kind of played it out here. Vertebrates have a backbone, invertebrates do not have a backbone. After you get into one of those sections, then the next way to really break it down is by symmetry. So, and there's more ways, but these were the two that I picked that I think were what we could relate to. You either have radial symmetry or bilateral symmetry. Okay, so let's talk about bilateral real quick. Bi means what? Two, right, bicycle, bilateral. So bilateral symmetry means you have two halves of your body that can be pretty much divided in half. A human has bilateral symmetry right down the center of their face, through their nose, all the way down. And if you folded us in half, we would be the same. Now, I always have kids go, oh, we only have one heart, or oh, we only, it's for the most part. We can be it can be divided. And we do have a lot of two organs, two kidneys, two lungs. So that's bilateral symmetry. Humans, lions, dogs, cows, cats, rabbits, those are all going to have bilateral symmetry. The next one is radial symmetry. And radial symmetry is how I like to look at it, like a bicycle tire. They are arranged in a circle. They have the center point that branches out. Sand dollars, which is the picture here, have radial symmetry. Octopus has radial symmetry. A clam has radial symmetry. So those are two ways to identify animals. And that is your weekly lesson, 8th graders. So you have homework assignments for lesson 1 and lesson 2, and 2 bell ringers you need to hand in by next Friday the 27th.